Hi, everybody. I just had to get on here today. I just got off a private client call, and I really wanted to talk about this because it had me pretty fired up. Hi, Jody. Good to see you. Hello. You're gonna love what I have to say today, Jody. So the parents that I've got working with and in our private call today, we talked about the experience that they're having with their kids' therapist, local therapist. And one of the things that I think is so important for many of you whom I've spoken to who have wanted to try local therapy first, in terms of solving this problem of eliminating daily meltdowns. And when you do that, you have to understand the risk that you're taking in what you're setting your kid up for. Now, one of the families that I'm working with, they're on their third therapist, and their kiddo is preteen age at this point. And it's finally a relationship that they had started with this therapist where their kiddo wasn't refusing to go to therapy. So they said, okay, good. All right, finally, we found somebody who might help. This could work. And so they had, and these are families that this family has been researching sensory processing sensitivity for years. Their son's physician actually had told them that their kiddo was highly sensitive, and taught them about the trait that, shared Dr. Elaine Aron's book with them. And so they started reading. And what they found is that nobody and their mother knew about it. And so they had been through, a couple of therapists and struggled significantly with these meltdowns for years. And they came across me, and they booked a call, and now we're working together because they finally figured out that there's a solution. But what I think is so important for you guys to understand is that when you are struggling, and what we were talking about, their kiddo is still in therapy, while we're working this out and solving the problem. It's heartbreaking because after explaining the highly sensitive personality trait and the therapist nodding and saying, okay, I get it, I see, the guy never picked up the fucking book, guys. Never picked up Dr. Elaine Aron's book on a highly sensitive child. Never looked into the research. Never understood the power of validation and naming your kids' emotions. Never thought. Now, 3 weeks into us working together, their son is finally sighing relief and acknowledging emotion. And after years, guys, years of this shit. And so it incenses me that for you guys that you trust a professional, you share with that professional that your kid's highly sensitive, and the professional doesn't fucking give two hoots about it to pick up a goddamn book. And excuse my language, but for Pete's sake, guys, this is ridiculous that nobody out there is solving this problem. And so if you are searching for a local therapist and they do not understand the highly sensitive trait, and they do not know how to eliminate daily meltdowns, and they do not give you a specific plan on what they need to do to compound with the individual therapy that you're requesting for your child, then it will not work. You will be stuck. You will waste your time, money, energy, resources, travel, all that logistics, especially with multiple kids, getting to appointments. It's a waste of time. It's a time suck, and it will not solve the problem. And I have this family that I just got off the phone with. We do video calls for our coaching, and to see the frustration in their faces and the dejection and the loss that they had felt like they had finally found somebody whom their son at preteen age could connect to, who just had their kid treading water. I mean, literally going in and out, venting for an hour with no movement. Kids still refusing to go to school, kids still struggling, feeling parents don't understand them. And then come to find out, the parents are asking the therapist to advocate with them for the school now that they know what their kid needs. Because, like I said, we're working together, and they have the plan, and they need the local support as well. And the school wants a letter from the therapist, and the therapist is like, Well, I mean, is that really part of the issue here? When they want the therapist to explain the personality trait and they want the therapist to explain how a highly sensitive child is experiencing intense emotions and is not likely to have a catalyst at school that anybody can pick out, is not likely to have an antecedent for the situation, you know, a direct cause. You know, teacher yells at you, kid cries. That's not happening for highly sensitive children in the freaking classroom. And so if the schools are asking for that and they want the therapist to concur that that's what's going on, and the therapist doesn't know two shits about the highly sensitive personality trait, then you guys are stuck between a rock and a hard place. And it leaves your kid stuck. Because in that moment, your child sees mommy and daddy are working to help me. The school doesn't understand it. And the person that they helped mommy and daddy, you know, mom and dad helped me, you know, find, doesn't get it either. And so what happens? Your child struggles and spirals into deeper depression and anxiety because at this point, they've already managed to land the diagnosis because they're in therapy to begin with. And the hardest part about that for you guys is that you lose hope. You lose hope that this is going to actually change, that there is a solution, that there is a systematic way to eliminate those meltdowns, to stop feeling like a crappy parent because you're spinning wheels, to stop feeling like you just can't get it together, to stop fighting amongst each other because one's yelling and the other one's giving in. And when that's happening, and you seek a professional who won't even pick up a goddamn book to try and figure it out, run the other way, guys. Buy the book for the therapist for all I care. But honest to God, if you're trying to seek support and the professional that you have in line to support your child is not willing to learn about the personality trait, then they will not, cannot, impossibly, even fathomably be a solution to ending these meltdowns. How can you expect somebody who literally knows nothing about the personality trait to support your child who's experiencing daily meltdowns? It doesn't make sense. And so what happened to this family, and what I see over and over and over again for families who just finally get to me and they figure it out, we make a plan, is that that therapist fits the kid into the anxiety box. So what happens when your highly sensitive child gets diagnosed with anxiety? Well, what that means is that your child just is making things mean that they're scary. And so if your child is thinking, oh, you know, my teacher is yelling, that's scary. If I start to change my thoughts, which is what the therapist is going to try to get your kid to do, change my thoughts, it's no longer scary. I'm no longer being chased by a bear. Then I should no longer feel scared anymore. Oh, kaboom. Magic appears. What happens? We have like glitter shooting in the therapy office, guys, because I don't see those meltdowns ending. I don't. And neither do you. And so what does it do? It leaves you and your kid holding the bag because somebody who seemingly knows what they're doing is telling you that you're not doing it right. And what's actually happening is that they're not doing it right. This fires me up, guys. The redhead is coming out. It is crazy town when you are trying to find a therapist who does not know what they're doing with this highly sensitive trait, and they are not willing to learn, to research. The research is there. The trainings are slim, but they can learn. And if they're not willing to learn, then they will not help you solve this problem. Now, I was speaking to Jennifer. I'd said, you know, why don't you just go start therapists? It's a whole different kind of worms. I can't guarantee that the work they're doing is effective unless I'm overseeing it. And so what I think is so important for you guys is if you don't have the bare minimum, they're not even willing to pick up the damn book, then don't waste your time. Amy, I think all the child therapists in my area, I think every child has anxiety and oppositional defiant disorder. I think many of the children might actually have HSC traits. Amy, 50% of the kids in therapy are highly sensitive. 50% of the population in therapy, human population who goes to therapy, is highly sensitive. Highly sensitive people make up 20% of the population. Huge problem if you think therapy is going to solve this problem. Therapy is leaving people hanging. and keeping kids in therapy for way too long with no problems, with no solution. So I think it's very, very important for you guys to understand that instead they're going to put your kid in an anxiety box or in a troublemaker box. That's the ODD. And go watch my rant on ODD. It's in the Facebook group as well. Just type it in the little the search box. It might even be organized. There's some of them I've gotten around to organizing for you, but you can do the work. If you're ready to solve this problem, you need to get resourceful. You need to figure out what's working, what's not working, and we need to get on the phone to get that done. Because there is no way, shape, or form that if that person that you're trying to seek support with does not understand the personality trait, that they will be able to help you solve this problem. They will not help you stop those meltdowns. You will be stuck continuously, and they will place a label on your kid that is absolutely inappropriate and also heartbreaking. Oppositional defiant disorder? There is no thing that's good about that. Even just naming the disorder. Your child has disordered thinking? What? In our private practice, in my private practice in Maryland, we make it imperative for families, for parents to retrain how they parent. That is a mandatory thing for parents who are working with us with highly sensitive kids. It is non-negotiable. I teach my clinicians this all the time. If the parents that you're working with in my practice, they don't seem to understand it, they can go work with another therapist. Because what we want is to provide results, because that's what you guys are looking for. And so if you don't have a results-driven therapist who is systematic at supporting you in solving the problem that you came to them for, then I'm sorry, guys, but this isn't the 60s. We don't just chew cud and joke around and vent all day. It's bad for your heart. It's bad for your body, venting. Do you guys notice that? I mean, you see your kid exploding at home. That is venting to the nth degree. It doesn't help anybody. It raises your stress levels. It raises your anxiety levels. It palpitates your heart. It increases calcification in your blood. And I'm gonna, that's the wrong words. Cholesterol levels go up high, right? I'm not a medical doctor, but recognize that the consequences of not having this problem fixed is not just living in the shit right now. It is really, really struggling with the idea that you'll ever get to solve this problem, because the very moment that you choose to think about it and the very moment that you wait to solve this problem is the very moment that you view yourself as incapable of solving this problem, because you need more time to figure it out. You need more research to figure it out. You're hoping for another magical solution. Well, guess what, guys? Magical solution is you. You've been listening to my videos. You've been watching them. You've been reading the stuff that I post here. You found your answer. Pick up the phone, schedule your call, and let's figure it out. Get out of the suck. There's no time like now to recognize that you have the opportunity to stop dealing with this intense baloney. And I'm using some crazy words right now because I'm so fired up. And what I think is so important for you guys to recognize in this whole conversation is that these are these are parents who, both of them, and bless them, I love working with them. Neither of them are highly sensitive, and they know more research than any of the professionals that they've even ever talked to. These are likely parents who were you, if you have younger kids, were you 4 or 5 years ago. And if that doesn't, if you don't want to be that, if you don't want to have to learn this on your own, research it on your own, read Google and blog posts and mommy blogs and moms of highly sensitive kids whose kids are still having meltdowns, who have a blog about helping you how to solve the meltdown, sorry guys, not gonna freaking work. If that's where you want to go, great. Stay in the group, keep chatting, more power to you. Everybody has a choice. And it's also true that you have an option to live a completely different life. And it's up to you to hold yourself accountable for that. So, because nobody else is going to do it, because half the therapists out there think that your kid just has generalized anxiety disorder. And when that's the case, and that's the only reason why you're coming to see them for therapy, and they're trying to teach your kid coping skills and try to teach your kid the cognitive triangle, your thoughts affect your feelings, which affect your behavior, and that all you need to do is change your thoughts so your behavior changes. Your kid can't even get out of their own head to solve their own problems. No wonder it doesn't work. No wonder it doesn't work, guys. So assess the situation. Acknowledge that there are many, many parents who have come before you who are stuck in this therapy rut, who didn't have anybody in their corner and who realized that they weren't ready, they weren't willing to keep living like that. And they booked a call, they made a change, and now they are living completely different lives. Their children are no longer refusing to go to school. Their kids are excited and haven't missed a day in the next semester. Their kids are like making MVP of fifth grade. Their kids are communicating their needs instead of spacing out and literally not even. You guys watched Ashley's interview. Her kid was a freaking icicle zombie in school because she was so emotionally overwhelmed and checked out that she could not process what was going on in the day, and somebody wanted to label her with an autism diagnosis because she was in one ear out the other. This year, she's talking in school, she's leading, she's teaching other kids like, hey, you missed your line, when they're practicing in the play. Okay, so recognize that if you're working with a professional who doesn't understand what they're doing, then the work you're going to do is fruitless and futile, and it's a waste. And you didn't have kids to just waste their emotional experience in life. You didn't. I know I'm a parent too, and if I knew there was a solution out there for a problem that I had, I'd solve it. And so I know that for you, you know that that's accurate and that's true. And if that's what you want to stop guessing, you want to stop wondering, you want to stop feeling that dread in the pit of your stomach for no longer worrying about what tomorrow will bring and who's going to pull your hair and pinch your cheek and yell at you and throw a shoe at you from across the room because their socks aren't fitting in the damn shoe the right way. If that's the stuff you want to get out of, then book a call. I'm booked out till I think February, guys. So you're going to have to wait a little bit, but you have plenty of videos in here in the meantime to get yourself started. And by the time we get on the phone, we will be able to support you in understanding what's going to solve this problem, how you're going to get out of it, and why we know exactly what we know that'll help you change, and why everything else in the world that you've tried hasn't been working. And honestly, I will tell you, if there are professionals out there who I feel like are more suited for your problem, if your kiddo is on the cusp of a developmental delay that needs a diagnosis before we can work together, or it disqualifies you from disqualifies us from being a good fit, then I'm gonna tell that to you. I mean, you hear it to me, you hear it from me now, telling it to you straight. There's no bone in my body that's a bullshitter. And so just recognize that the Irish is here, and she comes out on these calls in the sense that helps you guys understand that there is no reason to maintain this level of intensity in your household when there's a solution for it. And if I'm not that solution, if what we offer is not going to help you solve that problem, then I point you in the direction. So at least you are not wasting years of your time trying to figure something out that no one else is able to figure out for you. So I'm going to post the link to the call here. So if you guys have that, and in the meantime, go ahead and watch the webinar. I know we just saw a bunch of people coming in, and I'm just popping off. So I didn't popping in here. So I didn't even have, and popping off, given the intensity of this conversation today. And I don't have my link. I'm trying to type and talk at the same time. /talk. And guys, if that's what you want, if you want to be able to feel free, to be spontaneous on the weekends, to know exactly how you're going to spend your Saturday because you don't have to worry about what eggshells you're going to walk over, whether or not your kid's going to have a meltdown in public or at home so that you never actually leave the house, and you want to be able to choose that you could surprise your family with some experiences out in the community. Go to the park, go to the fair. I mean, it's winter time now. Maybe go skiing or hole up and watch a movie and know that nobody's going to bite each other's heads off all day. If that's what you want, then let's talk about whether or not I can help you get there, and what's going to be the solution for your family. So you have the link. Yes, on fire, Jennifer. That is it. That is my my personal body experience right now too, because what I want to say is like, what the F is going on with that therapist? And guys, I can't do it because I've heard it so many times. I can't allow myself to like get that fired up because otherwise I would just be a boiling, bubbling mess, right? And so I wouldn't get any work done. I gotta go to sleep. Um, all right, so that's it. I'm gonna go shake it off because at least I know that I'm helping this family and they have a solution. And for you, if you're stuck, quit wasting your time, guys. Cut the shit. I mean, honestly, I'm going a little longer, but when I think about my parents and how they struggled raising my sister, I talk to my mom about this occasionally, every once in a while, and about how things were when they were growing up. Like, she never told a pediatrician. And so this family, they told the pediatrician. Pediatrician's like, oh, okay, SPS, let's do it. Take care of it. For those of you who aren't talking to the local professionals, your kid's doctor doesn't know what's going on because it's embarrassing, because it's shameful, because you feel like you should have this figured out by now, because you're not sure if it's normal, then you absolutely need to get on a call. And I know we're a stranger, and so that might seem a little counterintuitive. But if you don't feel supported or know that you have a direction in what you need to do with the people whom you've chosen to keep your child's physical health safe, then that is the exact reason why you need to fix this now, why we need to talk about it. All right. Okay. That's it. Have a good night, guys. I will talk to you later. And that's all I got. Bye.